morning. My name is Ian McConnachie. I'm with the Crystal Beach Lakeview Community Association. We're here right now at Moodie Station on the Western Transitway. In case you haven't heard, as we just chatted with the pedestrian here who hadn't heard, the Transitway is closed west of Holly Acres Road right through to Moodie Station. Moodie Station is closed, and this is happening for the next 3.5 years for conversion to the light rail transit. What we want to do today is take you on a little bit of a journey of where the people going to access the buses at the new bus stops are going to have to travel, and the dangers and risks that we believe to be inherent in that. So right now, we're right at the passenger pickup and drop-off at Moodie Station. There is no passenger pickup and drop-off for the new stations, the new bus stops on Moodie and on the off-ramps. Now, we're going to take you to the next stop down the way and we'll talk further. From the passenger pickup and drop-off, we're now on a multi-use pathway. This pathway is going to stay open during the transition period for pedestrians to walk through here to get to Moodie Drive. But as you can see behind me, there's lots of construction going on there. There is going to be a whole ton of construction around this whole area. And yes, we believe that they'll be able to create a safe path through it, but it's going to be rather intimidating to a good number of passengers who will just say, this is not for me. Okay, move on to the next spot here. We are now at the end of the multi-use pathway at Moodie Drive. I'm going to be raising my voice because this is going to get noisier and noisier. Now you'll notice behind me the sign that has A through F symbols on the sign. That's directing you to the temporary bus stops. But a warning, the bottom arrow, AEF, suggests that you turn left here and you go over the overpass. The problem is, there's no pathway there. That's on the east side of the overpass. You have to go across the crosswalk, across the other crosswalk, and then up the other side of the road. That's where the pathway is. They screwed up on the sign. So be careful there. Now, the other thing I want to point out here, at this stop, there are 2 stations. These are transfer stations from the Moodie Drive area. Not sure exactly where each of them is going, but there's signage there. They have the information of which routes, etc. The thing I want you to also notice, on the map published by OC Transpo showing these stations, it also magically shows that the pedestrian crosswalks have the appropriate hash marks in them, but they have done no painting of any of the crosswalks. So be aware that the drivers are less aware that you're going to be crossing there. So this increases your risk. Be extra careful, please. Of Moodie Drive on the north side of the 417. Are you confused yet? Behind me, you'll notice a sign, lane closed, for the bike symbol. The idea being here, because it's a construction site, because the overpass construction, which is ongoing until the end of this year, that's part of the major problem, they had to take out one of the lanes to do the detours over the overpass while they are building for the light maintenance and storage facility for the LRT. So there are no bike lanes. So the bike lane ends, but you're supposed to ride on the roadway, but you are taking your life in your hand if you do that on a bicycle. So you are walking on a pedestrian-only path across the overpass, but please be careful, because you will find that there are going to be regularly cyclists going a place where it's safer for them to be, and that's what they're going to be doing, and you're going to run into them. So be extra careful as you do that. All right, we'll catch up with you just up the road. So we're now beginning to go up the elevation to go over the overpass. We also have, as you can hear in the background, lots of noise, and this is one of the more intimidating aspects of that as well. Now, this construction is scheduled to continue to the end of 2021. That means November, December. That means snow. That means snow clearance on your pedestrian pathway. And if you happen to have limited mobility or diminished mobility or other disabilities, you will not be able to use this. Period. Full stop. It is not safe. Now, as you'll see as we're filming the off-ramp, you've got a paved path here. which now has to morph into using the roadbed. And they have put down an asphalt ramp here, and they've still got a whole pile of garbage here that they haven't cleaned up, so there's all sorts of footing issues you have to be careful with. And just as we're here talking about this, and I'm watching the cars going over the overpass, people realizing they've made a mistake and doing U-turns at the intersections. So again, another element of caution because of the inappropriate nature of what they are doing here for OC Transpo and the dangers inherent in that. Imagine now this ramp having to be cleared of snow or freezing rain and having to be salted, etc. during November and December until theoretically it opens at the end of the year. It is not going to be able to be done safely, period, full stop. As soon as you start to record. All right, so just to give you a sense of what you're going to experience as you go across the 417, this is the construction site for the west side of the Moodie Overpass Bridge, as well as on-ramp being built just to the west of us. I want you to appreciate the fact that, again, it is really noisy here. You are going to be dealing with both confused drivers, stressed drivers, rush hour drivers, and construction all around you as you are walking across the overpass. Alright, so now we have made it across the overpass. We are on the south side of the overpass, still at an elevated level, just at the roadbed of Moodie Drive. Your pathway has now come off of the overpass and is now moving on to the sidewalk at the pavement. And then you have another ramp to get up. Well, the quality of this is rather poor, rather imprecise, and more prone to breakdown. I'm going to have to be doing some regular maintenance on it, but the added question is, how are they going to do this in the wintertime? November, December, when the snows or whatever else weather. And I might add, you're walking across here, and in November, December, that wonderful northwest wind is going to be coming out of there across the greenbelt to an elevated level as you are high above the 417. So dress appropriately in November and December because it's going to be rather ugly. Go. All right, we are now at the most dangerous part of your journey. You have come over the overpass. You're now headed down, and where you are is on a path alongside of the on-ramp to the eastbound 417. So people coming from National Defense Headquarters or anybody else who is coming trying to get on the Queensway will be taking this on-ramp. Now, you'll see here's some cars just coming along. No problem, they're actually going relatively speed limit. We have, while following up on this over the last week or two, we have been seeing a number of vehicles that begin to accelerate onto the on-ramp. So, let's head back now to the crossing. Let's have you realize exactly what's happening here because there's several things to be aware of. You're going to be coming down here to this crossing, and then you're going to have to do a 90-degree turn directly across perpendicular to the on-ramp, being extremely careful to watch for vehicles accelerating onto the on-ramp from Moodie Drive. You will also notice here there is a gravel path and there is a paved path by the Jersey barriers. You want to be on the paved path. So the key point here is make sure you know where you're going, make sure it's safe, make sure you don't have this happening while you're trying to cross. Extremely dangerous, so be extra careful here. Then you are going to be going down to the buses that are on the off-ramp or to the bus stations that are stationed on both sides of Moodie, depending on where you're going and where your bus route takes you. Okay. So what they've tried to do here with this, they've they've tried to create a pathway for you with these cones, and that's helpful. It's better than what we saw a couple of days ago. And they've also got these little temporary pads, just like you do at these ramps, where the ramps are cut down to road level. So that's helping to guide you where you're actually trying to go. You're crossing here, but again, you're watching the traffic, and you're being extra careful on this sort of thing. Now notice also, to help to guide you, they put a couple of cones right beside where you're supposed to go. Now, one of the dangers here is, what does it look like at nighttime in the dark? Because in November and December, it gets pretty dark. And what you may think, looking at this, is the cones mean I can't go there, when in fact, the cones are directing you, that's exactly where you need to go. So that's the end of our short journey. We're now back on the north side at one of the Moodie bus stops. Just to sum up what we're seeing here, OC Transpo, in closing the Transitway from Holly Acres to Moodie, announced that August 6th. They announced that to our community only after persistent attempts from the Community Association to get the information. The information they provided was inadequate to the public. We have now, in this walkabout, interacted with several people who were lost. Now, yes, this is first work day after this happened, but you've seen on this journey a lot of areas where it is not safe, where you are having to walk between 200 meters and 500 meters beyond where the station was built. This station was built by design at the perimeter of our community, the Crystal Beach Lakeview community, to be within 600 meters of the vast majority of people who were going to access. Now they have to walk an additional 200 to 500 meters for the next 3.5 years before they need to take other means of transit and get to a different station like Bayshore Station. And in that, our connections are not adequate. So what we are saying here to you, the riding public, be careful at Moodie Drive. It is dangerous in some areas. We do not believe that this should be opened while the construction is ongoing. And even after the construction, there are serious problems with it. We have asked for some communication from OC Transpo with the help of our councillor to try to work through an improvement in what the transit situation is for our community, but also for you, the riding public, because there are reasons for there to be changes made now. And there needs to be improved communication from OC Transpo on that long before they put it into place. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and by all means, share this with your friends, particularly if they're transit users, and make comment, frankly, to the elected officials and to OC Transpo. They need to hear from you, the public, about the risks inherent in what they are doing. Thank you very much on behalf of the Crystal Beach Lakeview Community Association.